Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Japan once again, as you may have guessed from my Japanese shirt, and this time we are going to Atsugi in Kanagawa Prefecture to visit Sankt Gallen once again. This is only my second review from these guys, but we've got quite a special beer from them today. This one is the Diablo Barley Wine 2016 edition, of course, and this should be really nice. It comes in at 10% ABV and it's rated 95 overall on Rate Beer, so it should be a pretty damn awesome beer. And I actually have tasted this one before. If you saw the interview video that I did with Casey and Eric from Sotogami Akihabara in Tokyo, we actually drank one of these during the video and I remember it being really nice, but I can't remember exactly what it tastes like. So definitely looking forward to this one and I hope you guys enjoy the review. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other reviews I've done from Sankt Gallen before. No doubt I'll do more during the summer when I'm over in Japan. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel of course has a geography based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever it is you're interested in. Do check out the playlist of beers from different countries. There is one there for all the Japanese beer reviews that I've done, and as always please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and your support of the channel of course is hugely appreciated. And do make sure you check out Casey and Eric's channel, Sotogami Akihabara. They've got some really nicely put together videos, two American guys living in Tokyo. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Sankt Gallen then. So as I mentioned to you, Sankt Gallen are based in Atsugi in Kanagawa Prefecture, which is to the south of Tokyo, and the company is owned by Nobuhisa Iwamoto. Now his father Matsuo had actually gone to the US in 1989, and that was where he discovered craft beer, and he later started experimenting with home brewing as well. And Matsuo basically wanted to be able to own a brew pub in Japan, but prior to 1994 of course, this was when the tax laws changed. The tax laws actually meant that only breweries producing more than 2 million litres per year could exist. But in 1992 Matsuo returned to the US and applied for a brewing license, which was granted in 1993, and simultaneously Nobuhisa actually opened a brew pub in Roppongi in Tokyo, where he was brewing non-alcoholic beer, which strangely enough wasn't prohibited by the tax laws in Japan at the time. But the beer that Matsuo was making in the US was also simultaneously imported into Japan and served into the brew pub, and the main reason that they were doing this was because they wanted to be able to show people how beer was actually made, but also to have the kind of real deal American craft beers as well. But they closed the brew pub in 1997 and they opened their brewery in Atsugi, and in the early days the brewery really struggled, but Nobuhisa carried on with it, and in 2005 he was finally able to take on extra staff, and he actually attributes much of the brewery's success to Miki Nakagawa, his marketing director, who really pushed the brewery's bottle sales. And the brewery are also really well known for their Unko no Kuro beer, which was actually made using coffee beans from elephant dung. Unko of course is shit in Japanese, but the label actually showed the whole process of this going on. They showed the elephant taking a dump, them taking the beans out of the jobbies and then going into the beer, so it was kind of quite funny actually. So yeah, quite an interesting brewery this one. They do have an interesting range of beers as well. The last one you saw me review from these guys was the Shonen Gold, which was a lovely orange beer, but their main range includes the Golden Ale, the Amber Ale, the Brown Porter, Pale Ale, Yokohama XPA, Kokuto Stout, the Vanilla Stout, Yonen Gold, which as I mentioned a second ago, Pineapple Ale, Apple Cinnamon Ale, El Diablo Barley Wine. They've got the Valentine Chocolate and also the Chocolate Orange as well, and I do have a feeling that they actually have a wheat wine as well, if I'm not mistaken. That seems to be a really popular style of beer over in Japan, these kind of wheat based bars. I've not so popular in other countries actually, so it is quite interesting. But that's enough about the brewery just now. We will get on to the tasting of this one itself. So yeah, I'll just let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. There you can see, there is the thing. I think the name Sankt Gallen is a tribute to Belgium of course. I forget if it's a brewery or a town over there, or a monastery or something, Sankt Gallen, but it says on the side of this beer it's hopped with Nugget, Cascade and Chinook, so it should be nice. As I said, it comes in at 10%. This is a really cool bottle. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but you can see all the Japanese writing on this one here. Katakana, Hiragana and Kanji of course. One of the craziest languages you're going to read actually, Japanese is. But this is a 300ml bottle and you can see it is quite cool, so I think I'm going to keep a hold of this one after the review, and it's just a plain bottle cap on this one actually. So without further ado then, let's get this beer open and we'll get on with the tasting. Definitely looking forward to this. So as you can see, nice smoky opening on this one. We'll just get it out and into the glass then. Just a little bit of excitement there as it opens up. Just let the head calm down. But as I said, I did try this beer with Casey and Eric when I was in Tokyo, and it was really quite nice. This is going to be an absolute beast of a beer at 10% though. I do wonder what made them kind of serve it in a 300ml bottle rather than just the standard kind of 330, but nicely presented. Can't say anything else about it other than that. So as you can see, this beer's poured a really nice kind of, it's a sort of dark coppery mahogany colour actually. It's got a nice red edge to it when you have it in the light. You can see there's a solid 2 fingers of a frothy kind of brown sort of beigey cream head on this one. It looks really quite nice. If I put my fingers behind the glass, I can see there is a nice bit of transparency to the beer. There's a few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of the head, but it smells really quite nice actually. You can smell the nice fruity notes and kind of brown sugars coming off this beer just as you move it about. But let's take a closer look at that aroma then. Oh yeah, it actually smells very bready. You know, you've got a big kind of almost brown bready character to this one. There's a lot of sort of caramel and biscuit coming out of this one as well. Maybe a little bit toasted too, but you can smell some of the red fruits. But let's sugar it up and see what else we can get. Yeah, when you sugar it up, you start to get a little bit more of the hoppy elements. It's actually kind of grassy and slightly floral. It's not too big with the kind of pine resins or anything like that. It really is more of a slightly floral and grassy hop, and those fruits in this one are really nice. There's a bit of orangey character in there. There's some nice sort of red fruity esters. You know, sort of candied raisins and things like that. Raisins, plums, those sort of little, the candied red fruit esters you get from the little Haribo heart-shaped sweets. I don't think you get them in Japan right enough, so that's maybe not a good descriptor for a Japanese beer. But it really does smell quite nice. Once your nose starts to adjust to it, you get some of the more boozy notes coming out of this beer. That's when you get a lot of the darker kind of caramel and sort of molasses and things in there. Some nice sort of treacle notes. But it smells absolutely lovely. Just take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this beer before you get stuck into it. It's really nice. Look how the head's just kind of gone up a bit crazy since I've been sugaring the beer around, but absolutely lovely looking beer. I remember it being pretty good, so we'll give this guy a try once again. A toast, of course, to Casey and Eric from Soto Gamiyaki Habira, because that was the first time I tried this beer. Thank you to Michiko for bringing this one to Scotland with her. But this is the El Diablo Barley wine from Sankt Gallen in Atsugi, Kanagawa, Japan. Kanpai. Oh yeah, that's pretty nice. You know, this definitely comes across, the first thing I should say about this beer, to me, this one definitely comes across as more of an English barley wine than an American barley wine. That's one thing. The English ones always tend to be quite dark with their caramel, and they've got a bit more bready and slightly earthy hop character to them. The American ones do tend to be sweeter and more fruity, as is the case with quite a few of their darker beer styles actually. So this one to me does certainly fit more into the kind of English barley wine category than the American one. But it's really nice. You do have to let your palate adjust to this a little bit though, so as I always say, just sugar the beer around your palate a little bit and let the whole mouth adjust to this one before you start analysing the flavour too much. But this is pretty damn good actually. You can feel there's a good sort of piney resin character just lingering in this one. I think they said there was Chinook in this one, yeah. That's exactly kind of what you'd expect from the Chinook. I was just noticing that there. There's a good bit of grapefruit. If you just go behind the front curve as well, you can feel that typical dark grapefruit from the Chinook hop just underpinning this beer. That's nice. That certainly is quite good. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one and the flavours and stuff, in the malty part of your palate you've got a nice sort of bready base there. You can just feel that, and it starts to sweeten up as you go further up in the layers. It's just a very light, almost pale malt base I'm getting from this, and then on top of it you're starting to get the kind of big brown bready elements to the beer. There's not that much in the way of a kind of toasted caramel coming out in this, which is interesting. But maybe as the beer starts to warm up a little bit, that'll be where you get more of these flavours. There's a lot of complexity to this beer anyway, I'll tell you that for nothing. But yeah, yeah, I can say as your mouth starts to adjust to it, you get more and more kind of caramelly flavour coming out of this one. But the malt base for me is actually really quite light in comparison to some of the other barley wines that I've come across, and that's what makes me say it does lean more towards the kind of English style barley wine, because it's the breadiness that's really kind of lingering there for me. You've got a good bit of grainy character in there, I think, and some sweet caramel, but there's a big piney resin character just underpinning this beer, and it's the Chinook hop, of course, because you can pick up the dark grapefruit character, pardon me, and also these piney resins that are just underpinning the beer. So it's interesting because it's got the English malt base, but then it does have some of the American hoppy character as well. But that's interesting. This is a good beer, and it's quite different from any other barley wine that I've come across before. So if you get the chance to try this one, I do recommend that you have a go at it, because just because it is different from other things you're going to find. But it's really good. I mean, on the hoppy side of things, in the back corners of the palate, I'm actually getting a little bit of earthiness, and as I say, if you come further forward, you can feel the pine resins just underpinning this beer. And then as it kind of mellows out a little bit, you get more of a slightly floral character, and around the front curve of the palate for me, it is actually quite grassy. And like I say, just behind that front curve of the tongue, where you get that little oily bubble where all the fruity esters come out, it's that dark grapefruit character from the Chinook that's kind of lingering there for me. And of course, when there's Cascade in there, that's a big grapefruit hop as well. It's going to be amplified. But as you start to move into the aftertaste, that's where you get some of the more subtle fruity characters coming out of the beer. You know, for me, there's a little bit of lighter red fruit coming out of this as you go later on. In the aftertaste, it's the pine resins and a bit of the grapefruit that are lingering. Some of that bready malt base that's in there is sitting there as well, and it's really quite nice. But the pine resins, really, they do build, and you just get this big bitterness building out of this beer as you go on. And of course, this is one of the things with the barley wines, you should always age the beer for at least 6 months or a year if you can. I think this beer, it was about 9 months old when I was trying it, so it may well still be a little bit more on the hoppy side of things, but it's really nice. But as you go further and further into the aftertaste, you get more of these red fruity esters, as I say, a bit of like raisins or plums or something, but then it mellows out into a sort of candied red fruit ester. It always reminds me of those little heart-shaped sweets in Haribo Star Mix. It's that kind of fruity ester that you're getting from this one. But it's just a really interesting beer, this, because it does have more of the English malt base to it, the English barley wine malt base, but then you've got the big kind of presence from the Chinook, and obviously the Cascade hop in there as well. The Nugget, from what I remember, gives you a nice kind of floral aspect to the beer and a little bit of earthiness, and that's one of the things you can pick out about this beer as well. That kind of, as you move into the aftertaste, the beer does get that little bit more earthy, and the pine resins just take a little bit of a back seat, but overall it's really quite nice. And as I said, it's quite different to any other barley wine I've come across before, so if you get the chance to try this one, I definitely recommend that you do, and hopefully I can try, I think it's called the El Añel, the El Angel. I'm going to have a go at the white barley wine, or the wheat wine, the next time I'm in Japan, because that would be really nice. But this is really good. So if you get the chance to try the El Diablo from Sankt Gallen, I do recommend that you have a taste of this, because it is quite different. So in terms of the mouthfeel, this one, I'd say this is definitely a full-bodied beer. The carbonation on this one, it does have a bit of a prickle to it, and you can understand, if you know Japan and you know the temperatures that they get there, you can understand why it has that big sort of prickle with the carbonation. They do want their beers to be quite refreshing. There's a nice wet mouth feel to this one at the same time, but it's got a big oily character as well. It's wet in the beginning, and then it just smooths out and becomes that bit more and more oily. You've actually got a good hoppy bitterness to this one, like I said. It kind of starts off quite smooth, and then it just bitters out as you move into the aftertaste. There's some sweet malty character. At the same time, it's quite smooth actually, and there's some juicy fruits in there as well. The red fruity esters, like I said, come out a bit later, but it's that kind of darker grapefruit note from the Chinook and the Cascade that's coming out initially. But yeah, it's a really quite nice barley wine, this one, different from any of the other ones I've tried before. So if you get the chance to try this, do have a go. Do let me know where you're finding this beer as well, because I've heard this is one of the ones that is exported fairly easily, and you can find it over in the States and things. So do let me know where you find this beer, if you get a chance to as well. But yeah, another really nice barley wine, another really cool Japanese beer. This is actually going to be my last video that I'm filming for you in Scotland this time, so the next videos you're going to see are going to be Swedish and Danish beers and some other things going on, of course, but I will be back in Sweden, so I hope you've enjoyed this review. Until the next time, do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the comment section below. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out my social media, check out Casey and Eric at Sotogami Akihabir as well, and until the next time, it's Slanja just now, the El Diablo barley wine from Sankt Gallen and Atsugi in Kanagawa Prefecture to the south of Tokyo in Japan. Really quite nice barley wine this, so make sure you check it out. Slanja just now.